Hello guys and welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Once again I'm Greg and this is the Starting 11 show. We're coming off the back of a dreadful loss at home against newly promoted Luton. Maybe one of the worst results in our club's history, but probably nailed on once you saw the fixture list announced. It was off the back of two good wins, with Bournemouth next, who are struggling as well. Had we have got those 3 points against Luton, we'd have had a real platform to grow from. Obviously, that's not the case, and now this game against Bournemouth is a lot more important as a route finder on that sort of path back to good form. Was Luton a blip, or was it a return to form? That's the question asked by the result we get at Bournemouth. The question is, how much do you change? Based on injuries, not much to report here. We got Seamus Coleman making progress, Andre Gomez touch and go. Can't see him featuring. If he does come back, maybe he's got a role to play under Dyche, but I can't see it currently. And Dele Alli is more long term. The big question here is you go from a win in the Cup against Villa, a much better side than Luton, where we played a different formation and with different personnel. And then you go back to our usual team and lose to Luton. So do we go back to having five at the back, which worked against Villa, or do we go and stick with what we're doing in the league with a back four? I reckon with Dyche's thoughts, it'll be back to the back four. The benefits of the back five, of course, are that it opened up this midfield partnership. The pivot of Onana and Garner, who seem to play off each other really well. Onana was much better in that role. Garner was more creative. Also, the back five allowed us to play Patterson. It seems like Dyche doesn't really trust him in a flat four. Opts for Young out there instead. But it detracts the role of Decore. I suppose that's the big. When I've been playing around here with what the teams could be, and I was putting the five at the back, I was struggling to find a role for Abdoulaye Decore, and he's been so critical in getting us over the line in games this season, tail end of last season. So I'm going to say we stick to the back four. Dyche sticks with the system he's going with in the league. Pickford, of course, starts in goal. The back line's pretty nailed on at this point, I think, as Young on one side, Branthwaite, Tarkowski and Mykolenko out on the left. That's not all three out on the left, of course. That's Branthwaite and Tarkowski as a centre-back partnership and Mykolenko out on the left. Luton, of course, we conceded 2 goals, but I don't think that's the work here of a poor back line. I think it's poor set-piece management. They had 2 early doors set pieces, scored both because we looked all at sea. I don't know if it was just poor zonal marking, but the free kick specifically, someone completely left at the back post. I think that's more of a managerial error than a personnel error. So I'll keep the back line as it is. I don't think that's a bad back line necessarily. Midfield, I would start to change things, and it's hard to, if you're talking to a man, it's hard to position here because Idrissa Gueye, as far as the statistics go, is a person who's good at turning over the ball, making interceptions. Supposedly one of the best in league based on the statistics. I'm not going to use the term the eye test, and he doesn't pass the eye test, but I think he looks leggy. His shooting is abysmal. It's good to have someone as disruptive as he is in the midfield, but I think what he does to slow us down, and when we're trying to get on the front foot, turning over play, I think he's really negative in that respect for what we're trying to do. I think here I would go for the James Garner and Onana partnership. 2 young, promising players, something to build the team around. I think that pivot there. I think we've got to start phasing Idrissa Gueye out anyway. I can't see him having too many more seasons with us, whereas these 2 players could play a big part going forward. Will they work together in this system? I'm not so sure, but I think it's definitely worth trying. Of course, in front of them will be Decore playing more advanced. Front 3, the big question is Calvert-Lewin or Beto, I suppose, is what everyone will be thinking. Beto's cameo looked poor. Calvert-Lewin clearly has goals. He's scoring goals. I would keep him in whilst he's on this run of form, I think. Beto, it's nice to have that option. Of course, the other option that we haven't even explored here is the front two together, but I think people were anticipating it when we saw it against Luton. Clearly, no work has been put into that as a system. Both were going up for the balls that were coming up. There was no one to run off them. There was no. I'm certain that if this was trained into them as a system, they would be able to play it together fantastically. But it just seemed like no thought had gone into how it will work logistically when they're playing against Luton. I think we got worse for having them both up there. So with that in mind, I would start just one of them, and I'd start Calvert-Lewin for now. Out on the left, Dwight McNeil. Out on the right, Harrison, who of course, if James Garner's in central midfield, you want Harrison out there. He's getting fitter. He looks sharp. I don't think that's a bad front line, to be honest with you. So who does that leave at C a little bit? Danjuma. Maybe he comes on for Decore instead, and Decore drops in with Onana. I could see that happening. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. But stick with this for now. Danjuma, where does he fit? Beto, where's he fitting? A couple of questions for you guys. Would you think just go to that back five that worked against Villa and see if we can build something there? But I feel like we were in this position with Lampard where we were trying to work out what shape worked for too long, and we never really found our feet. So that's my team for now. Pickford, Young, Branthwaite, Tarkowski, Mikalenko, Garner, for Garner being the only big change here, Onana, Decore, Calvert-Lewin, McNeil and Harrison. What do you think, guys? Is that good enough? If we win against Bournemouth, are you positive for the rest of the season, or is Luton just such a big morale killer that it looks like any kind of putting a string of runs together is going to be impossible? Why do you think our home form is suffering so much as well? That's another question, guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.